Hello, poor people. How are you today? One of the things you should avoid when you finally become successful is to buy into this notion of false humility. I'll explain to you what I mean in a second. But I see false humility as over exaggerated actions committed to put up a front. For instance, there are wealthy individuals who still do their own laundry, wash their own car, and surely it might win you public affection for a while. Surely you might get chants and individuals holler cheers in the comment section, but ultimately it's a waste of time. Not at this level. It is something that can be delegated while you focus on important tasks. It's a very precarious situation that you humans conflate simplicity with humility. If you offer to take me to church at the back of a Rolls Royce or cab, if I choose cab, I am simple, not humble. Humility is not the abstinence of luxury. It's very unfortunate. One of the things you should also understand is anything that aids convenience is seen as luxury to the average bourgeoisie. So as the external bourgeoisie sees your achievements, it seems as luxury. So if you get a mansion, 12-bedroom mansion, it's most likely you want a good place for your kids to play, a serene environment, like-minded individuals. And to you, it's a big apartment that can accommodate all family members. But to the external peasant, always trying to flex and things of that sort. Are there times where you want to flex? Yes. Is it justified? Yes. But ultimately, whatever is convenience can be seen as luxury. False humility. False humility. One of the problems while newly successful individuals buy into the psyop is to avoid the guilt trip and to prevent former acquaintances from declaring you've changed, or is it because you have this, or I'm trying to call you. And you see those individuals, they go out of their way to prove a point. It's a terrible way to live. In 1830, I'll share with you a story. A riot broke out in France, and the monarch was overthrown. So the commission of the highest authorities elected Louis Philippe, the Duke of Orleans. From the beginning, it was clear that his style of kingship would be different, not necessarily because he came from a different branch of the monarchy, questioning his legitimacy. Rather, he detested the idea or the trappings of wealth. Finally, when he got elected, he would put on a hat and an umbrella, of which he would stroll the street of Paris as an average bourgeoisie. Of course, this amused the average Frenchman for a while, but over time, it elicited contempt because he neither ruled as the man of the people, and the patriots, the patricians rather, could not endure the sight of an unkingly king. So his tenure, I'm trying to give context to the story, although this is far from what we are discussing. But in summary, his tenure was spent enriching his rich friends and banker friends. But the point I'm trying to highlight is, when riots broke out later, trying to topple the crown from his head, to assuage the populace, he fired up the prime minister and appointed a libertarian in place. The public, sensing they could push the king around, broke into further riot, and it was only a matter of time before Louis Philippe flew Paris, he flew England. The kingship was easily toppled from his head. So any leader who tries to dissolve their distance through a false chumminess and try to pretend as though him and his underlings are equal, gradually would lose the ability to inspire fear, loyalty, and respect. And any leader who lack the ability to elicit those kind of emotions is not fit to be a leader. So don't buy into that psyop, that guilt trip. Oh, you've changed. Oh, this happened. Oh, is it because you have this? Yes. If you're upset, go get your own. Things have changed. There are no classes, or there are no classmates in life. After school, everybody finds their class. There's no such thing as classmates. After school, everybody finds their class. Don't buy into that psyop of trying to appease everybody. It never works. And like Louis Philippe, the crownship would easily be toppled from your head. There are individuals today who get disrespected every single day by subordinates, by people which by the protocol of the assignment, they should have no business in that room. Yet you are enjoying the constant disrespect. For what? To avoid public opinion. Is that it? The second phase of this discussion is the fact that as you become successful, you should grow with the success. Being successful, naturally, someone else is losing. This is not a moral argument. It's as objective as the law of gravity. As you become successful, someone else is losing his relevance. For every single customer gained, he left someone else. Someone else's business is declining as a consequence of new market share. Your business grows, or you're in the content creation space, the more relevance you get, the more someone else's appearance is dwindling. So for every new view, he left someone else's content to patronize yours. Look at it from this standpoint. Say you own a razor company that you built into a conglomerate. It's most likely at the height of this success, you've created a very big monopoly, which means you produce at scale. If you produce at scale, you are able to enjoy something called economies of scale, which is basically, it costs less for every razor produced. As a consequence, you can sell at very cheap price while maximizing profits. Anyone trying to compete with you at the lower echelons of society is going to return razor-thin profit. So as that business grows, someone else's is declining. The point I'm trying to highlight is if you don't grow with your success, it's most likely, it's only a matter of time before you fail. And I'll explain to you what I mean by this. There was this pastor who bought into this wrong notion of false humility. So as his church grew into one of the biggest in Africa, and I will not say his name, I will not say his name, but as his church grew, in an attempt to preserve this idea of humility, he did not have security at all, no security. So one day, a little kid, a 5-year-old, came into his office, stark naked, and as soon as he would approach, paparazzi burst into his office taking pictures, and while he pushed the lady away, the narrative that was coined, headlines, XYZ pastor caught in this kind of activity. Now, the way the picture was framed, him pushing the lady, told us all we wanted to know. You now see that in one day, with one message, he lost half of his following. That became the beginning of the end. The church population began to decline. Every single thing he has worked for, he lost because of this wrong notion of humility. Had his security, would that be possible? Exactly. Exactly. So disregard this notion of trying to be humble. If you're successful, grow with the success. Accept the perks that comes with it, and you'll be fine. I'll give you another story. Same pastor, not same pastor, but I feel like we're picking on pastors a little bit. But one pastor whom, as his church grew, he committed to being in a very small apartment with no security. As a consequence, he was murdered in a small apartment and no alarm was raised. The cops couldn't come. It was in one of the worst places in XYZ. Why didn't he move to a better apartment? To avoid public opinion saying, oh, you're using church money. Oh, where did you get the money to do this? But my friend, as you become successful, adopt that phase of success. Leave that small apartment. Go to somewhere better for your safety. Why do you care so much about public opinion? Leave that place. Go somewhere better. Accept this new reality. Ignore the former acquaintances that will try to pull you down the second class streets. You have left that level. You have no business with those individuals. Whether you decide to say hello or respond to their text is completely up to you. Let's sit, let's analyze as professionals. Why did evil befall that man? What did he do wrong, or who did he offend? Like I previously explained to you, being prosperous naturally puts someone else at a disadvantage. People flocking to your church on a Sunday morning naturally is dwindling members from another church. So as you succeed, hate is a byproduct of your success. So more members, meaning other members, is ebbing from a certain church. So it's most likely an evil man of God would try to harm you, try to diminish your influence. And you would agree with me, the 10,000 something people who left that church moved somewhere else, meaning it's a plus for someone else. You now see that there's more than enough incentive for that someone else to commit harm. Whether it's responsible for the orchestrated downfall of this young man is a different discourse in and of itself. But we are not ignorant to the possibility. Let's wrap this up. As you become successful, ignore the opinions of others. Do what is right. Move out. Employ security. Ignore things that doesn't contribute to this level. Life is in phases. Even I did my own laundry at a certain point in time. And one thing about life is you do not consciously try to change things, but you get to a certain level where that activity is incongruent with that status. So for instance, you will find out that as your workload increases, it becomes very difficult for you to do laundry. Now you have to outsource. So it's not necessarily as though you're trying to portray luxury or you're trying to portray status, but the consequence of your assignment necessitates. So for the sake of time, we'll end it here. As always, my friends, a pleasure speaking to you. I'll see you in the next one.